To Fosruit. Welcome to Celtic Calm. Glenveagh, the wild that remains. There are places that ask for your attention, and there are places that ask nothing of you at all. Glenveagh is one of them. The valley opens slowly, almost without you noticing. Mountains rise on either side, not as jagged peaks reaching for the sky, but as broad shoulders of granite and heather, softened by thousands of years of wind and rain. Between them lies Lough Veagh, long and still. Its surfaces change with every passing cloud. One moment it mirrors a bright blue sky. The next, it becomes a sheet of silver beneath drifting mist. Nothing here stays exactly the same for very long. Even the light seems to wander. Cloud shadows drift lazily across the hillsides. Heather catches the sun in patches of purple. Birch and oak cling to the lower slopes, their leaves moving gently in the Donegal breeze. The air smells of damp earth after rain, of peat, of moss, of fresh water. It's the kind of place that encourages you to slow down without ever asking you to. A raven crosses the valley. Somewhere higher on the mountain, a red deer pauses among the bracken. It lifts its head, listens, then disappears so completely into the landscape that you begin to wonder if you imagined it at all. There's something remarkable about that. Nothing here is trying to be seen, and yet everything belongs. Long before this became a national park, these hills were home to people who understood the rhythm of this landscape. The old Irish name, Glenveagh, is often translated as the Glen of the Birch Trees. A simple name, one that tells you people looked closely enough to notice what grew here. In Irish tradition, the birch was one of the first trees to return after fire or hardship. It became a symbol of quiet renewal. Not dramatic change, simply the steady beginning of life again. And maybe that's why birch trees have always carried a sense of hope. Because they remind us that life has a remarkable way of returning. You don't need to find great queens waiting on these hills. No giant is said to have crossed this valley. There are no towering cairns catching the sunrise. Instead, Glenveagh offers something different. It offers wilderness. And in Celtic tradition, wilderness was never empty. The forests, mountains, and lakes were places where the veil between worlds felt thinner, places where poets sought inspiration, where stories were born, where the ordinary world gave way, if only for a moment, to something older and harder to explain. And maybe that's why the silence feels different here. It isn't empty. It feels inhabited, not by noise, by presence. You stand beside the lake for a while. Small ripples spread gently across the water before disappearing again. A dragonfly skims the surface. The mountains reflect faintly beneath the changing sky. And nothing asks you to hurry. Nothing asks you to become someone else before you belong. Looking across this valley, it becomes difficult to imagine the land expecting anything from you at all. It simply allows you to arrive. How often do we offer ourselves that same kindness? So much of life becomes a list of improvements. The next task, the next goal, the next version of ourselves. Yet these mountains have watched centuries pass without rushing a single season. The birch does not bloom before spring. The heather waits for its own time to flower. Even the lake changes only when the wind asks it to. Nature keeps its own rhythm. It has never compared itself with anyone else's. As the afternoon light shifts once more across the valley, another thought begins to settle. Perhaps peace isn't something we create. Maybe it's something we notice once we stop carrying so much. The valley hasn't changed since you arrived. Only your attention has. The mountains are still watching over the lake. The deer are still somewhere among those hills. The birch leaves continue to whisper together whenever the breeze passes through them. Everything that mattered before you arrived is still here. Everything that will matter after you leave will remain too. You take one last look across Glenveagh. The mountains folding gently into one another. For a moment, the landscape asks nothing of you. No explanation, no performance, only your presence. And as you begin to leave, may you take a gift home. The quiet understanding that there is part of you, just like this valley, that has never needed to be perfected, only remembered. The mountains remain, the lake holds the sky, and somewhere in the wide, green heart of Donegal, the wild still waits, not to be conquered, simply to be found. Gora Mila, Mila, my August.